Welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, I don't even know what it is. All right, Ben, back the truck on up.
Beep, 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 bam! We've got the Clover single barrel.
So I've told you everything I know about it.
Yeah, in the intro there. We know absolutely nothing about this, and we probably should have
some information about a golfer on the back named Bobby Johnson. Is that his name?
Bobby Jones collection.
Yeah, Bobby Jones.
Distilled in Indiana. So guessing it's a little Ross and Squibb, the newbies call it.
Yeah, that's what
MGP.
Yep.
It's single barrel. Nice little cork pop that's stuck
92 proof, 7 years, 1 month.
You know, we always joke when something says it's at least 7 years, and we always say it's probably 7 years in 1 day. Like, they went hard in the paint with that.
Well, yeah,
7 years in 1 month.
I appreciate it. You know, the reality is that at 7 years and no months, it sucked. It needed that extra month, I'm guessing.
They tapped into the barrel.
Yeah, and they said, oh, this is horrible.
And they tried it, and they're like, you know what? One more month on this.
1 more month.
So, presumably MGP. And yeah, beyond that, I guess I don't really know. Is this like a company that does... Is this a Haskell store pick?
It's a Haskell's pick. That's a local liquor store in Minnesota.
But either way, they probably make a single barrel just version of this to the masses.
Right, yep. To tie into the legendary golfer, if you're into that sort of thing.
Do you remember the price on this?
$50.
Okay. Little expensive right there off the bat for something new that's...
potentially risky, but I thought 7 years, and you know, it's got Haskell's label on it, so they've probably done a pick of it, so hopefully it's decent.
Sure.
So what are you thinking?
It's pretty standard. There's nothing jumping out of the glass that's...
It does have a nice richness, though. Kind of a butterscotch kind of richness.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. A little caramely and brown sugary. Mm-hmm. Oh, damn it. Now we've said 3 tasting notes. I learned from one of the comments on one of our videos that there are only 2 tasting notes in every bourbon, and everything else is just people trying to look like they're smart.
Really?
Yeah, apparently. So we got to get rid of one.
No.
You know. Well, obviously.
You know, that's got to be a bot. That's not a real person who had that opinion.
I don't know. Yeah, this has got a nice nose to it. I mean, it's a standard MGP nose.
Yeah, so at this point, nothing unique. I mean, if you've smelled bourbon, I think you've smelled something similar to this, but nothing off-putting, that's for sure.
No, not at all. Let's go for it. Cheers.
That's got a marshmallow sweetness that I didn't expect.
That has it's got some char to it as well. Almost like that, maybe a burnt marshmallow. For 92 proof, that's got a nice little bite on it. I'm not mad at that at all.
I actually didn't pour enough.
Yeah, you should get, I think you got more of it on the bar.
I did. I had a little bit of a mispour. You know, Ben's good for doing the mispours.
Right. Usually when I try to pour, it just jumps out of the glass. Yeah, you know what? You say the marshmallow could be power of suggestion, but it does remind me almost of a toasted barrel bourbon.
It's interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
So like there's the Elijah Craig toasted barrel, which I'm not the world's biggest fan of, but it's kind of grown on me. I feel like it's got a little bit of the same sort of flavor notes as that, but just not turned up quite as much. Like that one's extreme in its flavor notes.
Sure.
I feel like this is kind of a standard bourbon with a little hint of that on top of it.
You know,
a little graham
I have to
crackery
say,
maybe.
This is surprising for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would actually guess this came from a different distillery, one in Kentucky. They have the word hill in there.
I was going to say, are you guessing Heaven Hill?
Well, they have a hill.
Are you getting some nuttiness going on?
No, not that, but more the s'mores. Really the graham cracker, the chocolatey, like s'mores, in summary.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good. I'm actually really surprised. I think we've had maybe some mediocre luck with some, trying new whiskeys we didn't know much about. I like this a lot.
If there's one criticism I have, it's this. So it has a nice oak note to it. It's a little tannic, but I feel like, and it has that nice kind of sharp edge to it that I think is nice because it gives it feels like a little higher proof than it is. But I could see how that might be off-putting if you're just looking for a 92 proof level of
It definitely comes across as a bit pushy.
And it's a little thin.
And so one criticism I have is it has a metallic note that's pretty aggressive.
You've been getting that a lot lately.
I have. Yeah.
Maybe you're
maybe it's me.
Suffering from something.
Some sort of metal poisoning or something like that. But like the vanilla comes across as almost like, I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's got nice flavors. I just feel like it's a little thin, if that makes any sense. Like the flavors are, how sometimes you get like a thick, rich,
And we think sometimes
oily viscosity on the texture.
That.
Yeah, so it's got the nice flavors. It just doesn't really have the super rich depth to it, but it's good. Now, $50, it's a craft, obviously. So I will say this: there's plenty other $50 bottles out there that are craft distilleries that are.
Well, I wouldn't call this craft. I would say this is just a relabel.
Well, right. I suppose that's true because it is MGP.
Yeah,
it's a craft distillery, but it's a contract.
Yeah.
Still, so yeah.
So it's a contract. There's a name for it, but.
At some point, I think we have to do a video where we kind of break down a bunch of MGP products and start to really pick apart, like,
because they have different mash bills, so it's not all MGP juice is the same.
Correct. Yes. But sometimes you run into here's an MGP bottle that's 7 years old. That's $100.
Yeah.
Well, here's another MGP bottle that's half the price, same age, same proof. It's like, I'd be interested in doing a bunch of them, like just finding all the ones in our collection and maybe do like a bunch of flights and kind of break them all down and see kind of a buy this or buy that sort of thing, So
here's what I'm going to do with this one. I like it a lot. So I'm going to go home and I think I'm going to do a flight just on my own. Sometimes I drink whiskey and I don't film it. It's actually okay to do that.
He just drinks whiskey alone in his basement.
Well,
with no camera running. What a weirdo.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to compare this to some other stuff in the 90 proof range and in the $50 range. And I want to see how this compares to some of the other, well-knowns.
Sure.
Because I actually like this a lot. I think two notes come across as really prominent in the sweetness, which surprised me, but that's not totally off-putting, but it is for some. And the metallic vanilla note that I'm really getting on this, which is not off-putting, but it's definitely prominent. Yeah. So, but I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, just feels a little thin. But other than that, yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those nice surpriser bottles. I mean, it is MGP, like we said, but sometimes, you buy a bottle, and did you even know that before we looked at the bottle that it was MGP?
So my wife actually picked it up, and she sent me a picture, and I had never heard of it. $50 seemed like a good deal. I didn't know it was from Indiana, so didn't even know.
Yeah, all right. Well, this has been the Clover Single Barrel on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.